We in here.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I know you're hiding at work.
I can.
Dustin is coming to us today from a closet in his office because, he's working. He's working today. Yeah. It's the Armchair Waterboys podcast. It's Sean B. here with my friend Dustin Parks. Dustin, how you doing?
Doing well, brother. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Better than I deserve. What a good day, man. I made a TikTok today. I drove up. This is why I was late. I drove up to Shelbyville for fun with only $42 in free play. And I was like, let's see what kind of day we can have with $42 in free play. And ran it up to I was up a little bit and then bricked it on the last machine. Absolute fucking brick. And
Figures.
Yeah, I was just trying to I was like, all right, where do I stop though? Like, say I'm doing well, because I got to, like, on the first machine, I took the 42 in free play, turned it into $76. The second machine I went to, I ran it up to 120. And then I went to a quarter machine, lost 20, took the last 100 into Lightning Link, my favorite machine in the casino. $925 major jackpot possibilities. Bricked it.
Negative.
Didn't even get a bonus. But I was like, if I get this to 200, like, that's going to be where we stop and go home. And we're like, yeah, we made $200 on nothing. I invested nothing except for a little bit of time today. So great. I mean, all in all, a good day. Made for a good TikTok. Yeah. Anyway, how's your day, buddy?
It's a little rainy down here, but, we survived yesterday's.
Survived the eclipse?
The apocalypse.
Yeah, right. It wasn't as cool for you guys as it was for us.
See, you're right. We didn't have full totality, but it still was actually pretty wild to see. So I went up to Asheville yesterday. It's normally where I go on Mondays for my sites and whatnot. But by going up there to the top of the mountain, I got probably an extra 8% of coverage.
Hell yeah.
So from where I was in Greenville to go up to Asheville, I got up to like 87 something percent. So I got a couple pictures through the glasses with the phone. I got to watch some of it with some other, there were some like neighborhood kids. So there's a neighborhood behind where I work that I walk up the mountain a little bit. So I was hanging out with those kind of neighbors for a little bit. It was fun.
It was a cool scene. When we hit totality, like, you could hear everybody in the neighborhood start to cheer, and it was awesome. And it was about 3.5 minutes worth of totality. And it was the whole thing. As everything I said it'd be, you did a 360 camera pan, and it was a sunset all around you.
Yeah.
Or sunrise, crazy. However you look at it.
It was so cool.
It was awesome, man. Like, it was way cool. I knew it would be cool. That's why I was basically like, I'm not fucking working. I'm gonna experience this. The kids enjoyed it. We had a little family thing. It was cool with my wife's family. Awesome. Speaking of my wife, happy anniversary to my wife. All the love, 4/9/2022. Day we got the deed done, and 2 years, and she hasn't killed me yet.
Right, I was there that day.
You were there that day, yeah.
It was a good time.
Was it for you though? I think your date got kind of hammered.
I mean, I didn't say it was pretty. I just said it was a good time.
It was a great day. It was a great. Well, if it means anything, it was the best day of my entire life. So, yeah, that's where we are.
Happy Annie, Sarah. I already told him.
Yeah, right. We had a weekend, man.
I was about to say, speaking of bricked on the last shot.
Jesus Christ. I don't even talk about that stupid bet. I'm not even going there. You know what? That's my own turmoil.
We're just gonna start with bad beats.
I just shared it. I wouldn't call it a bad beat. Like, Purdue bricked just that basketball game. Like, we went into halftime, and I was feeling good. I had under. We'll talk about the fucking bet. I had under 150.5 for the game, and Purdue plus 12.5. I bet Purdue to show the fuck up for a national championship game. That's what I bet. And they did not. At halftime, I was like, if we carbon copy the two halves, I'm good. Right. I'm good. I'm good as gold. We could not get it done. Purdue loses by 15 in a national championship game. A lot of I don't think a lot of people thought Purdue would win, but we thought they would compete. I mean, they were, for a good part of the season, the projected number 1 overall seed in the tournament. But man, UConn just showed how really, really good they are. how deep they are. Purdue did not show up, but outside of Zach Edey, Purdue did not show up. Fletcher Lawyer, zero.
That's where I was just going to go with it. It was 0 from him, but you look at UConn, they had 4 starters in double digits.
Yeah.
That just is so hard to overcome.
You know why? Because UConn showed up for the national championship game.
Right.
The Connecticut Huskies, back-to-back national champions. Be honest with you, like when this team beat Indiana earlier in the year, I was like, this is a really good team. I don't think it's a national championship team, but it's a good team. Indiana just isn't a good team, so it was no sweat that they beat IU, like big deal. But Connecticut, man, the one thing that I thought about as this game was playing out, and even at halftime when I thought I was probably going to be okay on this bet, was that Connecticut has covered every game in this tournament. They were 5-0 against the spread coming into this game. I obviously moved the line because the line was 7. I moved it to plus 12.5 for Purdue. So could have very easily moved this down to Connecticut minus, 2.5, or could have left it where it was, either way. But Connecticut had 5-0 against the spread. No sweat, basically no sweat through this tournament. I mean, they didn't really have any situations. Like a 6-point lead over Purdue at halftime. Purdue had been a largely second half team throughout the tournament. So, like I said,
so you think that 6 points is easy enough? Like you carbon copy it, like you said, you had up to
carbon
15.
copy it, or you say, you say Purdue competes in the second half and makes a run for the ball game. But man, they got down by 17, 18, I believe it was. Yeah. And like I said, with 30 seconds to go, this guy launches a 3. If that shot goes, Connecticut inbounds and holds, and I win my fucking bet.
Right.
But that shot did not go. Connecticut rebounded and held, and I lost my bet. Connecticut celebrates the national championship. The only thing here's why I didn't bet Connecticut minus 2 or 3.5 or whatever it would have been. Because I wanted the bet to be like I almost just went Connecticut money line. Right. But I was like, man, if Purdue pulls this off, if Purdue wins this game, like I don't want to be stuck just because Purdue showed up and Connecticut didn't. Right. Like, so I was like, if I go Purdue plus 12.5, say the Boilers lose by 10, I'm good. Like I'm good either way there. I was just mostly worried about the under, and when they had 36 points at halftime or 66 points at halftime, I was like, I'm good on the under. So it's just a rotten way for it to go down. Purdue kind of laid an egg in the second half. And that's what it was. Zach Edey, 37 points, 10 boards. The only Braden Smith did okay, 12, 8 dimes. But, honestly, Zach Edey was the Boilermaker that showed up. I mean, he was the only one. He was the guy. There was a
spot in the first half. In particular, I can't remember what exactly. I think it was an and one foul. He came walking back up the lane, looked at the other end where all the Purdue fans were, and I was like, those eyes are fucking scary, dude.
Yeah,
dude. He is locked in.
Absolutely.
He is. Where's everybody else?
He was locked in. Where is everybody
in the first
else?
Half.
Like,
yeah. So, I mean, like you already mentioned, Lawyer was, I don't want to say entirely a liability, but man, putting up shitty shots all night.
I don't know that he was a liability, but he was absent.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he could not get a shot to go to save his life. And then the other one that really stood out to me was Gillis was 24 minutes on the court and had only 2 attempts.
Right.
The whole time.
Gillis.
He's just there.
Gillis not there. Fletcher Lawyer not there. Purdue, I believe, was 1 for 9 from the 3-point line for the game. That's going to hurt you.
1 for 7, actually. 14.3%.
Was it 1 for 7? Yeah. Okay. Yep. 1 for 7 from the 3-point line.
Now, granted, UConn was only 6 for 22.
Sure.
It's still like 27%. But
I mean, that's net 15 more points from the arc. Purdue didn't shoot a whole lot from back there, but and I wouldn't have either if you could only hit 1 out of 7. That's just not a good way to win basketball games.
They won the free throw percentage as well.
Connecticut won the free throw percentage. Not a lot of foul shots there. Purdue getting to the line a little bit more. UConn only with 11 free throws. Rebounding.
Yeah, most of them were Edey. really.
Rebounding
as far as foul shots.
Rebounding matchup pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Turnovers.
The assist differential was huge.
It was double, but
yeah,
which is actually kind of surprising because you got to figure these guys are feeding Zach Edey. But like I said,
how many dribbles is he taking to take away the assist factor?
Right. Watching the game and then looking at the tail of the tape. The tail of the tape doesn't necessarily scream 15-point loss, but
no.
We all know we saw Purdue laid an egg.
I feel like is what it does say.
Purdue laid an egg. Neither team shot above 50% total for field goals. So just UConn was UConn. They went deep. They showed up, and got the job done. You look at a guy like Klingon had 11 and 5. Not a massive impact game. Newton was the dog. 20 points, 7 dimes, 5 boards.
I mean, see, that's the thing is for Klingon, I'll say not a lot of it was showing up on the stat sheet, but he was disrupting Edey. He was doing everything he could to just keep him occupied.
And that was the thing is everybody talked about the matchup between Klingon and Edey, which Edey clearly won.
Right.
But
he did.
And that's
individually.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's where you mentioned that the full team of
where the rest of your team
showed up.
Nobody else. Nobody else on that Boilermaker bench anywhere near a black and gold uniform showed up for that basketball game last night. I said, Smith wasn't bad, but it had to be more than that. So Purdue drops the Natty by 15 points. And for Indiana fans, a couple IU fans sitting here in this podcast, we can still say, where's your banner, homie? Where's your banner? And sadly for Purdue, and I don't want to talk a whole lot of shit, like Purdue had a great season,
right.
You know what I mean? But
they did.
At the end
they were talking about Matt Painter last night too on some of the broadcasts.
Yeah, and
Gene Katie in attendance.
And I'm glad for Matt's legacy that he got to a title game. He proved he can make a tournament run.
Mm-hmm.
They did beat a double-digit seed in the Final Four, but whatever. Whatever. It's fine. Whatever.
I think next year will be telling for them.
Well, I don't know that it will.
Arguably, this next recruiting class, I don't know. We'll see what they can do next year.
And
I'm curious if they make another run like this, if they go back to the title or not.
I'll tell you what's scary. What's scary if you're a Purdue fan, knowing that what's scary is if you take Zach Edey off of this team,
you have
nothing. They're done. They're done.
Yeah.
They're absolutely done.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen next year is you're going to remove Zach Edey from this team and hope that, something comes up from the ground up, and it just, it doesn't look good. It looks, it feels like this was their chance to get one, to hang one. I know every Purdue fan is probably, and you should. You've got a great basketball coach in charge of your program. You should feel good. They don't feel good today. I promise you that. But
I stayed up. I saw some of the festivities at the end. I can't say I watched all of the post-game stuff, but that one was a rough loss, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely tough for them to take. And, you had all the high hopes. All Purdue fans want is to just shut this, where's your banner talk down. Mm-hmm. And it's a little crazy coming from IU fans considering 37 years, but they have hung 5 historically, and this shit doesn't go away for these people. So,
that was the first appearance in the final in 30 some years for Purdue, right?
Right. 1980.
Also, the other stat that I saw as the game was starting, I thought was interesting. That's only the 10th time that 2-1 seeds have met in the final.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, well, like I said,
wild.
There's a reason they call it March Madness. There's a reason they call it March Madness, and this is the reason, and that's what it is. And
that makes me wonder as well, does that match up with both men's and women's? Because we had it on the women's side too.
So with women's, I guarantee you it happens more in the women's tournament. Because like I said, there's a lot less parity.
The other day,
there's a lot less parity.
Chalk on the women's side. Yeah.
There's a lot less parity in women's college basketball. That will go away eventually.
I agree.
Probably because just the women's game is growing. The women's game is growing. Partially, thank you to this player that I'm going to play a clip from Dawn Staley, a little something she had to say after the national championship game was over.
That was a great press.
I have to congratulate Iowa on an incredible season. Awesome. And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport. She carried a heavy load for our sport, and it just is not going to stop here on the collegiate tour. But when she is the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, she's gonna lift that league up as well. So Caitlin Clark, if you're out there, you are one of the GOATs of our games, and we appreciate you.
That is Dawn Staley, South Carolina head coach, on Caitlin Clark. Talking about that, after that national championship game. And it's crazy I'm trying to, what is going on here? What's the matter with you? There we are. That's what I'm looking for. Pulled up the wrong thing. But we talked about, this championship game and we texted a little bit as the game was going on. Iowa came out pretty well in the first quarter. Caitlin was kind of being Caitlin. She had 15 in the first quarter. Iowa went into the break with a 7-point lead. From that point on, South Carolina just was South Carolina. Camila Cardoso was Camila Cardoso. They played deep.
Pop out from 3 for 4 for the game, but that's where I think she hit most of them, where it was in that second quarter. That's where they took off. I mean, that was a 10-point differential in the second quarter, and then they led the rest of the way.
37 bench points for South Carolina.
Yeah. That's
19. 0 bench points for Iowa.
Yeah, 19 from Miss Johnson, Tessa Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Tessa Johnson. And she's always big off the bench. She's just kind of sixth player. Don't feel it's appropriate to say sixth man here. Hannah Stolke, I thought, was a little behind. She got off to a real slow start, which did. When you're guarding Camila Cardoso is not easy to do.
Once again, you're talking about the same kind of matchup as Edie Klingon. It is the battle of the heavyweights down there, and not to be like that, but they are some big people. I'd be looking up to both of them probably.
Right. The thing to note about Iowa's, you say 0 points off the bench. They only had 18 minutes total off the bench. O'Grady came off the bench for 13 minutes, and then Feuerbach played 5. So, not a lot of bench play from Iowa, but you talk about, Caitlin played all 40. Gabby Marshall played all 40. Kate Martin played all 40. Affolter and Stolke are the only ones that came off the bench. So that, at the end of the ball game, Iowa didn't score a basket in the last 5 minutes. No points in the last 5 minutes of the game.
They looked so deflated. I said it to you, I believe, in a text to you guys. There at the end of even the first half, when Caitlin got the ball stolen from her, and South Carolina runs back down there and scores a late bucket again.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, even towards the end, within that 5 minutes, I was like, dude, what are you guys doing? Do you actually want a title or not?
They looked exhausted.
Like you said, they were tired because they didn't have any help from that bench.
Well, like I said, was it not having help from the bench, or was it misuse of the bench?
I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation.
Could the reserves have been put in a better position to do more? So, we'll see, what happens with both these programs going forward. South Carolina has been a breeding ground of WNBA talent. Camila Cardoso will be no different. Caitlin Clark from Iowa. Them two going in this draft.
I was just mentioning Pow too. She's a senior as well. Yep. I don't know if she's fully declared, but I would assume that she's going to go as well.
Kind of get a look here. We're going to go down through at least this first round of the WNBA draft and kind of what they think. That WNBA draft goes down Monday.
Yep.
Monday the 15th. And it's going to be a big day. Listen, the Fever are taking Caitlin Clark. We're gonna assume that, right?
I think so.
Like, let's say
like, I'm
they
80+% sure that they're gonna do
I'm
that.
not. I'm 99.5% sure. You know, because Cameron Brink is the projected number 2 pick. We've got Aaliyah Boston. Rakia Jackson, same thing. Forward from Tennessee, the projected number 3 pick. We've got Aaliyah Boston. You know what I mean? Cardoso, number 4. So I think when you talk in terms of what the Fever need, Caitlin Clark matches up. And I equate it to, like I said, I talked about this the other day when Bob Knight talked about Michael Jordan. You need a center? Draft Michael Jordan, have him play center.
Make him play center.
You know what I mean? You absolutely bring this level, if nothing else, of marketability to your franchise. You know, there's just no questioning that.
It's going to be massive, and you already talked about it before as well. Caitlin's already signed a contract with Cambridge.
Yeah, she's got to deal with Cambridge. It's something we know is going to happen. There's no real anticipation for it. I think Caitlin knows. The only thing is, like I said, we talked about this a little the other day. This thing with the Big 3 and being offered $5 million to go play in the Big 3. That's $500,000 a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tough to say no to. I don't know how the inner workings of all that will come through. If they'll, if the WNBA says no, you can't do it.
Right.
You're talking about $5 million here, $80,000 a year in the WNBA. There's so much of that I have no clue on even how to speculate on.
Yeah, I just don't see personally how you'd be able to make it happen between both. I feel like if somebody signs you to this contract and whatnot, it's going to be a risk management thing, and they don't want you to get hurt doing the other thing so that you can't do it in this one.
Sure.
Like,
they say you can't get hurt.
That's what the conversation comes down.
They say you can't get hurt taking 4-point shots.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't. We'll see how it plays out. But I think the words of Coach Staley kind of resound with everybody where, she just basically said, thank you for growing our game. I know you're going to continue to grow it when you're the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. Like,
I think everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And it's like I said before, she strikes me as one that's going to chase the championship. She wants a legacy in the WNBA. The Big 3 thing is interesting because there's a lot of money. It's a big decision, obviously, and it'll be hers to make. But
when you're talking about blazing a pathway, you're talking about blazing a pathway for women's basketball to continue to grow. That's the route, and that's where I've been the whole time. I didn't love the news of the offer from the Big 3 when it came out. I thought, man, just stay out of the fucking way. But at the same time, I love to see people get paid. I absolutely love to see people get paid.
Get your money. And that's the other thing that, so many have something to say about kids not finishing their degree. They can finish their degree while they're playing in the pros. I mean, Dame Lillard did it. Steph did it.
Right.
That's just basketball. Even some of the professional football players did the same thing. Go get your bag, dude. Go get your money. You only have so many years to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's only so many good years that you have available to you. Strong words from Diana Taurasi. Yeah. And this is, you never can fully understand what you need to believe and not believe that you see on the internet. But Diana Taurasi basically commenting, saying, hey, you did great against the 18 and 19-year-olds in college. This is a different game in the WNBA. What do you think of that? I mean,
I think she'll assimilate well. It'll take some time. It always does for anybody jumping from collegiate to pros, right? It doesn't matter if it's basketball, football.
There'll be an adjustment.
If you declare to the draft early, it takes a year or two to kind of adjust. But I think that she's going to be in the right fit if she comes to the Fever. They're going to bring her up quick, and they're going to set it up for her to make her shots. I think she'll be just fine. I really do.
Those 3 points from the Fever logo can be made no matter who's guarding you. And if you want to stretch your defense out to the logo, go right ahead. Fever building a roster, man. Building a roster.
Think this is going to be a key piece.
I think more than a key piece, the icing on the cake. Like, let's
to
build
the
this roster level. And let's get there and compete with Vegas and go get a title. I love it all. I love it all. We're going to see it right here. Of course, you in South Carolina, me 45 minutes away.
I'll be back for some games
from Cambridge Fieldhouse.
Go get me a Caitlin jersey.
Oh, we got to have a field trip, bro. We got to have a field trip. For sure.
Let's go.
For sure. And eventually,
right,
one of these days, we'll get our friend Reggie back on the show. Suddenly we launch our podcast, and his employer is like, well, you're going to work these days. Perfect. But Reg will be here with us on Saturday when we take a deeper dive into both drafts that we have upcoming. The WNBA draft and the NFL draft is not far away.
Only got a couple weeks, right?
Only got a couple weeks. April 25th, the NFL draft. It's a Thursday night, that first round. That mystery will be solved. What's going to happen with Caleb Williams? Is he going to the Chicago Bears? And we can talk all night that night or that day or whatever it is about how big a mistake I still think this is on the part of the Chicago Bears, but that doesn't matter right now. That's irrelevant right now. It's a massive mistake.
We'll save it.
Yeah, we got to save it. But we can speculate and talk about all that all we want.
We have weeks to do it.
Weeks. I'm looking at this WNBA mock draft though, and obviously, Caitlin Clark stays at number 1. Duh. But like I said, Cameron Brink to the Sparks at number 2. Rakea Jackson to the Chicago Sky. I can't talk today. To the Chicago Sky at number 3. Cardoso down at number 4 to the Sparks. That's going to be a steal for LA if they can get her down at number 4. Considering they also, here's what strikes me weird about this mock draft.
You're going to take Cameron Brink over Camilla at 2?
Well, they're going to get them both because it's both. The LA Sparks are picking 2 and 4. So this mock has the Sparks taking both Cameron Brink and Camilla Cardoso, both centers. Don't quite understand that. Don't quite get it.
I mean, I don't know what their roster actually looks like, to be quite honest, as far as we know the Fever pretty well because we've been watching as well as researching more if we know Caitlin's coming.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting to me that they're taking 2 centers. It seems weird. And the first 5 picks too, no less.
But Angel Reese projected down at number 7. Here's the passage they have on CBS Sports' mock draft. Reese's strengths and weaknesses were on full display in LSU's Elite 8 loss to Iowa. She was relentless on defense and the glass while battling through an ankle injury, but also shot 27 of 21 from the field. Her offensive deficiencies are well known, which is why she likely won't be a lottery pick. Other qualities are too much to pass up. So do we have Dennis Rodman? And look, it seems like I try to fight myself off of shitting on Angel Reese. I think Angel Reese is a very talented basketball player.
So do I.
I think there's been so much noise that is just that LSU program just creates unnecessary noise for me. Mm-hmm. And it starts with their head coach and their players kind of resound that, But they do have Haley Van Lith, or they did. And like I said, still calling it, putting it down, putting my finger on it. Hottest chick in college basketball. And that's where that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But so we'll dive in Saturday. We'll talk this WNBA draft and we'll talk NFL draft. I'm pretty excited because Saturday is the first time that we're going to spend actual time on the NFL draft, on the National Football League, my favorite league to talk about. Saturday, we will do that. Kim Mulkey is garbage. I believe that, Adam. Kim Mulkey is absolute garbage. And I don't like to shit on people, but man, she is just, I don't know. I mean, great basketball coach, but man, just, I don't know about her as a human. What I do know about Kim Mulkey is she stands up for her players. Whether that's misguided, we can maybe say that's a little misguided, but Either way, Angel Reese down there at 7. We'll dive into this WNBA draft and kind of try to give a good picture of what's going to go down on Monday, and then on Tuesday she dresses like a dickhead. She dresses like a dickhead. Could be.
Oh man.
Could be. But we'll go over all that on Saturday. We'll have Reg back in here in the studio. It'll be the 3 of us talking WNBA draft and, of course, our first look, the Armchair Waterboys' first look at the NFL draft that's coming up on April 25th.
Yeah, I already told you my window's open for the dynasty leagues have already been looking at.
Oh, you're already on that. See, you're the fantasy guy. That's the thing. As this show develops, Reg and I are more gambling guys. You're the fantasy guy. Yeah, that's your thing. So I love it. Major League Baseball's in full swing. And by full swing, I mean we're about a week and a half into the season.
Total pun intended.
Dude, right. Who is are the Pittsburgh Pirates actually good?
I mean, their run differential's plus 21 in 11 games.
Yeah, I mean they're 9-2, so it can't be that bad.
No.
But you've got a couple big series wins here with Baltimore. The Nationals, they opened up against the Marlins. 9-2 to start the year, best team in the National League. The New York Yankees, 9-2, best team in the American League, right there along with the Cleveland Guardians.
Yep, that was what I was just about to say. They have a plus 36 run differential so far. That's fucking crazy.
Right, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Baseball takes you got to get about a month into the season. Get me a month into the season.
They're still trying to figure out lineups. Like they're switching everything around. So I have a Yahoo League with Wes and Nate and some others as well. And I'm telling you, these guys, some of them that you've drafted that aren't like the guys on teams, you go down the roster a little bit. They're moving and tweaking these guys all around the lineup.
Absolutely.
So far.
Trying to figure out, you got Shota, pitcher for the Cubs, who's now pitched 2 gems. And, this guy's in your 5 spot. So, once those pitching rotations start to, they line up perfectly the first couple weeks, right? 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, down the list.
Yeah.
It won't be that way.
Tweaking.
And that's just the attrition of a long Major League Baseball season.
Dude, it's so long.
I can't look at a 9-2 Pittsburgh Pirates team and think, well, that team's gonna win the fucking division. Look at them. Because at the same time, I can't look at a 6-4 Cubs team and think, God, why are we only 6-4? Like, what? This isn't a good start. You just don't know. You can look for some bright spots. Cody Bellinger's off to a good start there in Chicago. Shota Imanaga obviously pitching very well. We need to get Justin Steele back. It's a big one. We got to get him back off injury. The Miami Marlins are 1-10. That's a really bad record in baseball.
That's rough.
You got a professional baseball. You got a Major League Baseball team, 11 games. You can only get one of them. That's bad. That's
you mentioned Bellinger's off to a good start. Happ's batting 325 already.
Oh yeah, Happer's going to be the guy. That's the thing about the Cubs. And like I said, we talked about they blew one last night, and they did. They blew one bad last night.
Dude, that scoop and toss from Morel. Up a heater. I didn't even think he was going to stop the ball and then slings it over to first. That was a highlight for me last night, despite blowing that lead.
Sure.
There were some good plays throughout for sure.
What I liked about the Cubs' quick start last night, up 8-0 after 4. The hits, I mean, nobody had a multi-hit game.
No.
Total collective team effort. 2 ribbies from Hap, 3 ribbies from Belly. No long balls, just a baseball game. You like to see that we're up and down the lineup. You can rely on guys to step up and get hits in the situations they need to get hits in.
Yep. Well, and like you said, they did it early, but as they started coming back, nobody could hit anything.
Well, that's the thing. Javier Assad, 5 innings, 7 Ks, gave up 2 runs, 3 hits. But I mean, that's a pretty good start.
No, it's a great start.
That's a great start.
Don't get me wrong there. I was talking about us getting some hits late.
Sure.
Like, keep those bats hot, but as they started switching up pitching, we couldn't hit them again.
Just a rough 6th inning for QS. Luke Little, Hector Neris in there getting that relief work in. But just, I don't know, man. I just Adbert giving up the 2 in the 8th. And this is what I said to you at the beginning. The 2 in the 8th are the ones that killed me, because you bring in Adbert out Alzolay. He should be fine.
Yeah.
And it's losses like that are frustrating, because you blew a big lead, but you still had your shot. You still had it set up the way you wanted it.
You did.
All in all, I like the job Council's done so far, though. I agree. the trajectory this lineup's on. I think he's got the right guys in the right spots. I'm still waiting on, Seiya. Seiya was 1 for 3 last night, but I'm waiting on Seiya to really step up and that was the bold prediction. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, was like the first pitch that he saw and just smoked it. I was like, that's awesome. Let's keep that going.
Seiya got on base 3 times last night.
Did you see? Yeah, I did see that. Did you see that stat line from Ellie last night? Ellie De La Cruz?
No. I know
Dude,
he's off to a rough start.
On. Let me find this shit. I just shared it earlier today.
We'll go find this guy real quick.
So I shared it on the Facebooks.
Oh, yeah?
Let me see.
This is last night?
It was even today, actually. But my phone's being slow.
He was 3 for 4 with 2 jacks last night.
He had a hit from both sides of the plate.
Yeah.
He had an out of the park and an in the park home run. He had a stolen base. And I think there was one other thing. And he's the first player in history to do all of that in the same game.
Wow.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. Ellie's on a tear. I mean, that guy's gonna be he's fun to watch. He's so
4+ runs scored was the one I missed.
Yeah.
But yeah, home run from both sides of the plate, 1 over the fence, 1 inside the park, 4+ runs scored, and a stolen base. First player in history to do all of that in the same game. That's just wild. That kid's special.
He really is. And a lot of these young guys for the Reds are special. And that's why they're so hard to predict, like, how they're going to be this year.
Yeah.
They had the second half last year where they absolutely went on a tear.
I mean, we're tied with them right now.
How are they going to be this year?
Technically.
I mean, we can't talk about that. I mean, we're a week and a half into the season. That's the thing. This is what I always say about baseball. In April, baseball's not fun to talk about.
No, not really. We got to get
I'm going to drive all the way out here, set all this shit up, get you on the phone, do all this so I can come talk about a fucking Tuesday afternoon, the second week of April. I don't give a fuck. And that's the reality. Like I love every game. I love every Cubs game. But when you talk about the thick of the season,
you get into the doldrums, man. Yeah. And you got to get through like halfway, and you really start to see how things are shaping up. Like you said, they're still ramping up, trying to figure out lineups. Like
if it's too cold to go to a baseball game in Chicago, baseball ain't fun to talk about yet. You know what I mean? The problem is,
I believe Wifey said you guys were frozen when you went to Indy.
We were frozen in Indy. We went to opening day in Chicago last year. Froze.
Yeah, believe it.
Too fucking cold to go to a baseball game in Chicago. Like, just period. The wind will cut you in fucking half. Bad deal.
Yep.
Bad deal. But at the same time, like, it's baseball. It's Wrigley. Like, you love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this is my thing, is you're talking about how early in the season it's just not as, there's not a whole lot to talk about just yet.
No.
So I had someone kind of argue with me that he doesn't watch professional basketball, right? This was someone I was watching with in like the Elite Eight realm of the tournament, both the women's and the men's. And he's like, man, you convince me to watch it again. And I said, I don't know that I can necessarily, but he's like, I don't even watch pro football. And I said, no, that one's the one where you're going to strike a chord with me and we'll talk about it. And the main thing that I was trying to argue with him was there's 182 games in baseball.
60.
There's 80 or 60, whatever the fuck, 82 games in
errors
basketball.
and omissions.
I put the two together.
Right.
I put the two together.
Right.
Anyway, 82 games in basketball season. And there's so much that can happen throughout the course of that season. And there's games that you can make up for, whereas in football, you have a very small window, I feel.
Oh my God. If the Cubs are 6-4, I'm not even blinking. If the Pacers are 6-4, I'm like, long season, we'll be all right. If the Colts are 6-4, I'm losing my shit.
Yeah.
Like, why are we not 8-2?
And that's where I was getting at, is like the weight of each game for the course of your season.
Yeah.
Is so different for each of these sports. And that's why baseball players will sit out there and they're just like sitting in the outfield, kind of chilling.
Because it's something they do every day. It's the attrition of a long season is what will decide who's playing baseball in October. Where in the NFL, a team breaks off.
Come out the gate.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything has so much more weight to it. But let's talk about this real quick. The early MLB power rankings. Who do you think's number one? And you're not even looking at it. Don't look at your computer.
I'm not. I mean, I'm looking at like
who's number one?
The standings, but
fuck the standings. Who's number one?
The Yankees.
No, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Massive surprise.
Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers go out and spend $2 billion on them.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
In free agency, they're the number one overall team in our power rankings. I don't know if you know this, but they came to Chicago, got rained on a little bit, dropped 2. Just saying. Braves are number 2. Are the Braves going to have that rebound year?
I know Reggie's hoping so.
Reggie's really hoping so. And that's a fun team to watch. I'm a big fan of Acuna Jr., Ozzy Albies. I love all those guys.
Albies is a lot of fun to watch.
Yankees are down at number 3. The Rangers are number 4. Of course, that's who the Cubs opened up with and dropped the first 2 of the year.
Yeah,
Rangers down at number 4.
Baltimore, they're 6-4 as well.
Baltimore, number 5 in the power rankings. But if you look at standings, the Orioles are not having the best time. No, the Orioles are 5-4. I mean, is that top 5? Back. Is that top 5? We don't know because it's a week and a half into the year.
True.
You know what I mean? That's why baseball power rankings are the most fun thing to look at. Philadelphia's up there. The Tigers are up there. The Cubs are top 10. And I'll tell you why they moved up. They were not in the top 10 when the year started. But Cody Bellinger coming out looking like gangbusters. That dude's going to have a repeat of last year.
Shota.
You got Shota down there. It's another arm in the rotation that you were unsure about. He's pitched a couple of really good games. If that continues, that's dangerous.
I hope, and I really do think that Seiya is going to have.
Me too.
Arguably a breakout.
That was the bold prediction.
If he starts to get hot, bro, come on.
Yeah, the bold prediction was that he would get MVP votes this year.
Yeah.
But there's so much to talk about, but so little to talk about. Because it's just baseball and just gonna start it.
It's a bunch of speculation so far.
Yeah.
That's really where we're at with it.
Now we could run a Mad Dog Russo segment and talk about why we're mad. Talk about why we're mad. Why are you mad? I saw a thing the other day where Mad Dog Russo was mad because 10 p.m. tournament games. 10 p.m. tournament games. As if he didn't know the West Coast existed.
Right. Take a nap.
Mad Dog out there, the games come on at 7. If they didn't come on at 10 o'clock here, they'd be live at 2 o'clock in the afternoon there. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
These people are still. These people are still at work, Mad Dog. Let them go to basketball games.
To watch a whole lot. He just likes to yell about.
It's funny. It's their shtick, right? He's Mad Dog. Yeah. He's mad. Why are you mad? I'm mad because Shohei Ohtani's a degenerate gambler. That's all Pete Rose needed was an interpreter. Best quote of the year. We're only in April, but the best quote of the year was Pete Rose coming out saying, "Fuck, all I had to do was get an interpreter. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. If I'd known that, I'd be in the fucking Hall of Fame."
Right. Well,
since we're early baseball talk, does Pete belong in the Hall of Fame?
I think there's arguments that he should be, yes.
What do you mean there's arguments he should be? He's got more base hits than anybody that's ever played the game. There's no question he should be in the Hall of Fame. The minute they put sports books in baseball stadiums, let that shit go. Let it go. There's a goddamn sports book right over there. I can make my bets. Pete can go make his bets right there
in the ballpark.
Fuck out of here with you got kicked out for gambling. Shohei Ohtani is a degenerate gambler. He got kicked. Is he getting kicked out? The investigation continues.
Right.
But as long as you continue to promote this shit in the ballparks and you continue to say, we're encouraging people because we've partnered with DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, all these. We're encouraging people to play.
Yeah.
To play and be invested in the game. Do this, and we're going to promote it at our ballparks. We're going to have whole entire sports books in all of our ballparks. Fuck, how is Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame yet? That should have been his first argument.
Yeah.
But, and that, friends, is the most fun conversation to have about baseball in the middle of April. That's how it goes.
Right.
That's how it goes. We can edit that. I love the game of baseball, but to sit here and have an in-depth discussion about this 2024 MLB season, second week of April, Yankees are off to a hot start. The Marlins suck. End of discussion.
Yep.
End of discussion. Because I don't give a shit what kind of long season we're talking about. You can't start 1-10. You're not going to the playoffs. I know you have 151 games to go. But you're not going to the playoffs. You're fucking done. 1-10. Get out of here. Why can't that team support, why can't that town support their team? That's a low attendance ballpark. They've won 2 World Series in their existence, which started in 1993.
Which is this?
The Marlins. Did you lose me for a second?
I want to say 93 is right.
Or did I go on a rant that was hard to follow?
Not necessarily. I was looking at something else, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, I forgot you're at work. You're at work.
Already talking about this whole rant of not.
You're at work. Dustin's at work.
I'm looking at
the TPS reports came across the desk. We got fucking money here. It needs to be here. You're an IT guy. You're not even an accountant. But the fucking TPS report showed up. We're not meeting our key indicated projected matrix or whatever the fuck you guys talk about in offices.
No, I mean, I was looking at NFL mock draft because that's more entertaining than baseball right now.
I forgot you're hiding in the closet at work. Oh, my God. Boy, let's get done with this. Let's be done with this. We talked about our Natty. We got one more thing to cover. Before we go. And I'm going to throw this on the screen right now. Dustin, don't know if you can see it, but it's the final standings for the Armchair Waterboys Bracket Challenge. Yeah. The men's tournament bracket challenge, the Armchair Waterboys podcast bracket challenge presented by AT&T.
Oh, Patty Mac.
Patty McGuire gets the W, is the recipient of the gift card, $47.34. And it started as a $50 gift card. Had to get a Dr. Pepper. Thanks for the Dr. Pepper, Patty. That is surprising. Tyler Me in second. Okay, what the fuck does that guy know about basketball? We have a podcast together where we never discuss sports because he's like, yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, cool, man.
But my stepdad, Robin, third, right there behind Tyler. Dustin Parks, fourth place. You led the group between you and I and Reggie. Reggie's down there in ninth. I am not even on the screen for how shitty my bracket was. But Reggie had Arizona just like I did. But all the UConn guys up there on top, Dan Fink, who started hot, went away. Dylan Barber, the guy that had Texas, beat me. The guy that had fucking Texas winning the whole thing beat me. Brant Miracle had Creighton going all the way. Beat me. Crazy shit. The Purdue people were right behind the UConn people at 6 and 7. Peters talked about wanting to come on the show today if she won the bracket challenge.
Yeah,
and I told her, I was like,
now?
I told her, I was like, you can come on the show if you win the bracket challenge. There's
come on out.
No problem with that. I got no issue with that. But you didn't win the bracket challenge. Patrick McGuire did. He's not here. Good thing too, because I don't even know where that gift card is. And that's that. So congratulations to Patrick McGuire. Tyler Me, I don't know how you came in second, but you did it. You guys all smoked me. I'm down there on the bottom with my brother who had North Carolina going all the way. Like just a rough bracket challenge for me, yours truly. Dustin, top bracket in the podcast group. But here's the thing. Here's how good Patrick was. The second place bracket, 122 total points. Patrick had 143. Like, this dude crushed the bracket. Next year, when I need to place bets, I'm going to Patrick. Patrick, fill out my bracket, Bob. Help a guy out. UConn gets the title, bracket gets or Patrick gets the bracket challenge, and that's that. Dustin, you got anything you want to say before we go?
Congrats, Patty.
Congrats Patty.
Congrats to the national champs.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the next season of sports for some baseball and football, man.
Yeah, man. We're moving on from the winter sports onto the summer sports.
We got some Pacers.
Got Sirs basketball. We haven't talked a whole lot in depth about the NBA, which we will because that's coming down to the nitty gritty. What the playoffs start?
We've only got a couple more.
Yeah,
games
we're not far off. But all that we'll begin addressing next week. Saturday draft talk, WNBA draft, NFL draft introductory thing. Like we're gonna talk about some cool stuff on Saturday.
Yeah, we only got 3 games left of regular season for NBA.
That's right. Only 3 left. Now Saturday.
Toronto today, Cleveland on the 12th, and Atlanta on the 14th.
I'm gonna say
all
this.
3 wins would make us stay out of the play-in. That's what you said before.
Fuck.
We're close.
We got to stay out of the play-in. We got to stay out of the play-in. I don't understand how the Pacers can be one of the better teams in the conference, which they are.
Cleveland's going to be the big swing game, really. We got to win that Cleveland game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we'll dive into all that. So I'm looking at Saturday at 1:00 for the live stream of the Armchair Waterboys podcast. If you guys can't catch the live streams, you can always, we leave the videos up on Facebook and YouTube, or if you want to listen at your convenience in your vehicle, we're on Spotify and iTunes. The Armchair Waterboys. Yeah, so we're everywhere. If you're not listening, it's your own fucking fault. Missed all the good info. Dustin, have a good day, buddy.
You too, bro.
We're out of here. See you later.
There you go.
Hold on. Sick fade out. Boom.